And if you got people in your circle that, fall short of your mission, then the foundation is weak anyway.
Ooh, that's powerful. That's powerful. I like that. Okay.
And just say, okay, I might have to start all over and reset and relearn everything. But at least this time it'll be my way. And I'll know where all of this is coming from. I can start all over. So I started weeding it out. People, things, habits. I started letting it go, seeing if I could sacrifice certain things or if it had a hold on me. Abundance is not only money.
Thanks. Tell them. Talk to them.
Abundance is a mindset. What have I learned? What can I use in here to get me up there so they can look at me right here so I can get this right here?
That's like
so...
Like a Zam. I ain't acting, I'm just speaking what I see behind the lens. Even though I'm speaking roles, the creator I am.
Watch the rest devour.
Peace, love, prosperity, family. It's King Enlighten on the Move Different podcast. This is Move Different Mondays. And today I bring to you a very special guest. We have in the building transformational life coach, entrepreneur and speaker, mentor, teacher, Denise, coach NeNe. NeNe, thank you for joining the Move Different podcast.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Yes. Now, I know you've been doing a lot of, work for the community. I know you got your website that's still building. It's coming into play. You had some yoga in the park. You're doing a lot of great things.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming out. But just so I don't mess anything up, let the audience know what you're working on and who you are and where you're from.
Okay. So I'm Denise Tanner-Creal. Coach NeNe is what everybody calls me. I'm from here, Kansas City, Missouri, born and raised right off 40th and Bell Fountain. And I am actually working on building a safe community for individuals, and particularly because I have been getting very specific in particular in my target women and teen girls that are that have gone through traumatic events or unresolved trauma, or just wanting to navigate through life and needing that support system to guide them. I know with me coming up, it was a little different as far as the upbringing and the resources that were around. So I want to be able to connect people, and that's what I'm all about. I connect people. I bring people together. I do grief and loss sessions. I do team mentorships, individual grief and loss sessions, and I also host community events for everyone to come out and be able to connect.
Whoa, I love that. That's a lot of stuff.
It is.
But not a lot of stuff as now you say jack of, what they say?
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, not that. A lot of stuff has a lot of impact that you create.
Yeah.
I love it. So in Move Different Podcasts, we like to talk about lessons and transitions. Like what are the lessons that we learn about the importance of time, money, goals, and relationships?
Okay.
Now you being a busy woman and a businesswoman, very in tune with people and dealing with them on different cases. I know for me, when I'm dealing with people, one thing they don't respect or they don't take into consideration is how important time is.
Oh yeah.
Whether that's showing up early, whether that's putting the time in to get something executed,
exactly.
Or actually, what do they say when it comes not to scaling up a business, but when you project your projections, like when you go into a business plan, they want to on time scale.
Yeah.
Within the first year, what do you think you're going to produce and this and that? Hours. So when it comes to your time, throughout the time of you first getting into entrepreneurship, what is some lessons or transition that you have to make as you start to get serious about your business?
Gosh. So many. But first, to start with the inner work. because when it first started, it was when COVID was going on, and I was laid off, and I didn't have a way to earn money, and working was my way of developing money. I wasn't taught entrepreneurship. I wasn't taught how to invest in myself to where I can see those different routes and avenues come in. So, that was my thinking time. And I no longer wanted to let the government be in control of what I wanted. So my first business actually was I started a product business for my daughters, which was unique, which is, because it's still around, Unique for Beauty, where we sell body butters and oils and lip gloss. And when I first started with that, it was a plethora of a little bit of everything because I was so excited. But I think the key thing is to get in there, get you some key products, see what works for you, and start there. I know you were saying like with time and just management.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming at first, but it was a beautiful thing because I had produced something. And then even within our first month of launching, I think we made over $2,000.
Okay.
And that was just on butters and lip gloss. And that was just word of mouth. I hadn't even had a website yet. That was just telling my community, telling the people at work, telling the girls to tell the people at school. So I'm like, okay, this might work, especially, considering, the cost that I had spent, and the profits were at least 5 times what I had, spent and invested in that. So, right then and there, I was like, okay, this can work. And that's when the mind began to do other things. Then, I put out my first EP, brought out another LLC, Money Hungry ENT, because I love music. And the thing with that, it's good to be an entrepreneur, but I came out so strong, and I didn't really have a direct plan for them all. I was just kind of navigating and doing the things that I love without packaging everything correctly to where I could be able to allow my gifts to make a way for me as far as financially. So, entrepreneurship, especially with time, in order to even get to that time to break down, you have to spend time with yourself. Because I had to first learn, okay, what do I need to eliminate?
That's powerful.
I had a lot of things going on in my life because I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I have 4 daughters. Also working, also just being that confidant in the community to people, that they just call upon all the time. So, and then not having boundaries, not knowing how to say no without feeling guilty. So learning to sit with myself and really, tell people, hey, if you're going to respect my yes, then I need you to respect my no, because it's all within love. And it's all for the betterment for everybody. And it's not like, there's no love lost, but people are allowed to experience their life and take that time to be able to gain clarity. And that's what I needed. So I had to gain that clarity first in order to be able to figure out what I needed to release in order to gain.
That part.
So that was number one. Sat around, did that, eliminated that. And a lot of that came with people. The people, the things that I were doing, some of the habits that I had picked up that were consuming too much of my time that I had to learn how to break. Thus far brought me on the self-love journey. Entrepreneurship is also a spiritual journey, mind, body, soul. If you don't know who you are or know what God wants for you or what other people think of you, it's hard to gain that momentum to reach those steps, especially if you're just starting this thing. So it was really hard for me navigating because I didn't have a lot of good examples. So learning how to network and breaking out of my shell and becoming open was the second thing. So you got to make room. Then you got to become open because you can't receive if you're still holding on to all of that old baggage. And so I wanted to really branch out, but I had to take some steps back because on the inside of here was not right. And I needed my mission to show from within on out. So, now I'm navigating, this was about a year ago when I kind of was realizing that. And I'm learning to just pace myself, trust my discernment, not to give myself too many things at once. I got a minimum 2 things. If it's over 2, I'm frazzled. You know, my ADHD kicks in, and now it's a wrap on everything. Knowing when to rest, knowing when to say no, knowing when to refocus. All of those things play into time. And then once you do that, then you can begin to develop a routine that fits you in your schedule. And that's what I began to do. So self-love, what do I like? Let me start to kind of incorporate and cultivate these things into my own world, in my own land. Let me get up, do my praise and worship. Let me fill myself up. Let me give gratitude. Let me make room for those things. Let me vision myself in the next 3 months, the next 5 years, so that I can start to really see myself in these spaces. And that's the hard part. When you lose vision for so long, and you're in the matrix, as people say, in this world to world life, you know, commuting daily, you forget those core values. So when you go back through there, you're having to reinvent yourself and reset. And that takes courage. And that takes a lot of mind power and being willing to shift that perception from what you're used to.
I love it. You see, you unpack time all like you taking away questions from me. That ain't what we was trying to do here.
I'm sorry.
She went into full coach mode. She barely looked at me. She was like, I'm gonna give y'all the game. She just brought me.
You know, you got to give them the gems, you know, keep it real because, you know, let me get some water. I'm getting a little bit more water. It's not simple, you know, and people just kind of lay it out like this. No, this is what it was. Mm-hmm. And this is what you have to do. You can't just get up and go in or out. You know, and that's just how it goes.
But a lot of people, they don't even like really take their time seriously. It's like when you have a family or a close friend, someone passed away, it's like then you start feeling like, oh, wait, life's real, time ticking. Or people say time is limited, you ain't got all day every day. They say these things, but how you operate day in, day out doesn't really match up to that. You know, so it's like it's short-lived, the importance of time. So have you always been like time conscious and focused?
No. So for one, I've always been a go with the flow girl. Of course, growing up with my abandonment issues, losing my father at the age of 10 and, you know, losing my mother to the streets, you know, as far as drugs and letting those things take over her, I always had a people-pleasing spirit. So, you know, a lot of me was to always please and minimize the things that make me who I am, because maybe they won't like that. So a lot of my time was devoted to other people, not myself truly. And what I mean by that, when it came to opportunities being presented to me, and I want people to listen to this because this is where choices come in. I would go with the flow and hop on somebody else's boat rather than, you know, go to the beat of my own drum. And it's okay to be able to support those other people and have those great ideas and advice for them, but not so much that you forget about yourself. So no, I had not always been like that. You know, I was that go with the flow girl. Somebody come, hey, can you come do this? And I need you to take me up here. All right, girl, I'm on my way. Even not charging people a lot of times, and, you know, letting people into my home, not charging rent, and, you know, just letting people into my space that really, if I knew then what I know now, I probably wouldn't have even given them the access because I would have seen the spirit. You know, just really going through that journey and transition and time with myself really helped me to figure out who I was and figure out exactly who my tribe was and be okay with that.
I love it. Okay. So you mentioned some things about your childhood and abandonment issues, which brings me to the second pillar, relationships.
Okay.
So, you know, a lot of, and I'm going to feed off the time. When it comes to friends, and you mentioned being a people pleaser, I was a people pleaser, that can eat up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
You can try to be vulnerable and understanding with a loved one, and that can take up a lot of your time. And because of that, you know, some of your goals start to get put to the side. You start to lose clarity. You start to get fog mind. So when it comes to relationships, rather professional, family, friends, what is some key things that happen? Well, what is a lesson that you learned? Give me a story of something that happened. You know what? I am no longer going to entertain these type of relationships.
Okay. Actually, recently. really recent. And I know people say it all the time, really carrying those people along with you that you love, that you've always been there, that you feel like support you. But I noticed even just with these last couple years, those are the people that I've, tried to include. And hey, I'm doing this. You're good at this, acknowledging those strengths in them, and saying, hey, let's get together and talk business. But when we get together, it never aligns that way. It always goes different directions, and that's not the mission. Really grounding myself to be able to identify, is this person coming over here just to suck up time and play around, or are they really coming over here and meaning business? And being able to determine what that looks like. Do they come up here with notebook, pen in hand? Are they ready? Do they got drinks in their hand? Because we already know that that's brain altering. We are coming from excellence, then we have to be sober in the mindsets where we can present these things to everybody. So really understanding, okay, what am I about? What's my mission? And being serious about that, and being serious about those type of people coming into your circle, because people recognize that. Mm-hmm. And if you got people in your circle that, fall short of your mission, then the foundation is weak anyway.
Ooh, that's powerful. That's powerful. I like that. Okay. So when people say relationships is the main key to success, how do you identify the right relationships? What are some indicators that you can give views on how to identify the right relationships?
For me, reciprocity. Mm-hmm. A relationship where, I like to say as a person, an individual, I always like to see people win. And, we go through those phases where we get in stagnation and, oh man, I want to get like this. And we look around and we see people really making it. But I let that be my motivation for me to push and do better for myself. And I encourage other people to do that too. But just really paying attention to what they're bringing to the table. Is it reciprocity? Does it match what I'm bringing to the table, or am I bypassing and not paying attention to the red flags because I love someone? Just because you love someone doesn't mean that's a great partnership. Mm. In a relationship, whether that be personal, in a work relationship, intimacy, whatever, you still need that partnership to where you can make things grow. And if it's not growing, things are dead. And I always want to be alive. So that's how I determine who's in my circle now. Are they coming in ready? Do they have that same drive? I pay attention to my body. How am I feeling when they walk in the room? Am I getting extremely anxious? Am I feeling like I can't, get nothing done? Is it aligning with my mission? Are we speaking the same things? You know what I mean? And you can tell a lot about a person by just listening to them. So really listening, active listening, and getting to the root of what a person is saying has been my thing. And when I identify it, when I do meet these people, because we're not perfect. Sometimes our discernment be a little off, and this is important why we should practice it. But knowing as soon as that person shows us who they are the first time, like the great Maya Angelou quoted, to believe it. And not continue to let them distract you from what you need to do.
I like that. Maya Angelou. I was talking to some friends of mine, and we was talking about if you had to pick a man and a woman to narrate your life, who would it be?
Man, I don't know if I want to speak too soon now. Everything going on in the world.
No, but AI and all that. Like, even somebody that passed away, but I know Maya Angelou was the woman.
I would have to say Maya Angelou, because just her strength, her soul, and how much of her story is relatable to mine. Mm-hmm. As far as I know why the cage bird sing, what she speaks about in that, and going through those lack mentality to abundant mindsets because of the Black culture and community, and really coming out of those limiting beliefs. And she was just a soulful woman. She was strong in her faith, and she delivered. And she was just one of those humanitarians where you felt that passion. So I would have to say Maya Angelou, because I look at a lot of her poems. I read a lot of her quotes. I watch a lot of her documentaries. Mm-hmm. And when I just get mesmerized when I watch her, and it's like, that's the type of woman that I aim to be. Not, of course, I don't want to be just like her. I am me. But I aim to have those same type of qualities that she has to impact this world.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And then you seen Baby Kids, right?
Oh my God, that's
so
classic.
that Robin Harris, that was my male I picked because he's from Chicago.
Okay.
I gotta have a Chicago accent narrating my story as well. So Maya Angelou and Robin Harris, them are the two people that be my narrators.
Oh my God, I haven't really thought about. I really have been loving me some Myron Golden. That's my guy right there. If we're talking about older, I would have to say Denzel Washington.
That's a great choice.
Never into any mess. Always has a great message. He's the observer. You know what I mean? And he steps in right when necessary. I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed, but even when, Chris Rock and Will Smith had that situation, and, he's a quiet guy, but he was able to mediate that and dissolve that. So having that type of power and just being able to express yourself and use those words to where it moves people to be able to choose the latter, I think is a good thing.
I love it.
Choose Denzel.
All right, Denzel. I take it. All right, now we transition to goals. Now, two main things that are very important with goals is time and relationships. So when it comes to your goals, have you always been goal oriented?
Oh yeah.
And if so, what have you learned throughout your journey that can keep you on your goal instead of distract you from your goal? What's some lessons around goals?
Okay. So some lessons around goals: finish what you start. Always finish what you start. My lessons will be, I would do a lot of impulsive things, a lot of goals, but a lot of impulsive things. Not really taking that time to think it out. Also, make sure it's what you want and not what somebody else told you were good at or told you that's what you need to do. When it comes to discovering those goals, make sure they're aligning with your purpose and what you want, and not so unpredictable. Another thing with the goals, to really stand firm in your decisions. I'm starting to kind of shift from the choice to the decision thing, because the choice, it kind of leaves it open to where it could go either way. It's a choice. But if I make a decision, that's what I've decided. And I'm standing firm with that. But in learning to build boundaries. What are my boundaries? What will I allow? What won't I allow? Because these are my goals and I can't let anything come in between them. So in realizing when my distractions come, knowing when my motivation comes and knowing when my distraction comes. And that's been a big thing. So I say for people, come off social media if you need to.
That's a big part.
Because it's such a big distraction and everybody's doing different things. So, even with me trying to figure, okay, on that journey, what do I want to do in life? Who am I? What's my purpose? You look around and you see everybody doing their thing. Now you doing a hair thing. But is this something that really aligns with my goals and what I want to do? And if you're not passionate about it, eventually it dissolves. So making sure that whatever goals we have also aligns with our purpose, coming off of social media, putting that phone on D&D, because I know that was bad for me. I want to please people, and I feel like I can help every dang on body. You can't help everybody. Something that I'm learning now. You can't help everybody. So really, when I see certain things and when, Spirit tells me, don't answer that because you already know what they want.
Yeah.
They get ready to ask you to take them somewhere. Girl, she get ready to call you and talk to you about that man that she been dealing with on and off, and you already know you already been there. You ain't trying to go back. And really standing firm, like, no, this is my time. I said, no, we're gonna put this on D&D, and they just gonna have to wait. And choosing you first always.
Love it. Speaking about choosing you first, what keeps you motivated towards your goals? When you hit a low point in life, a little bit of depression, because it ain't all sunshine and rainbows. What keeps you motivated to stay going for the goal?
one of the big things is my children, but you can't always say your children, because I will say that you have to be able to pick yourself up and find that motivation and that fire within yourself. So I learned, even when I went through depression, I wasn't paying attention to nothing. So nothing was motivating me. Even seeing my children daily, being in such a dark place, it was hard to come from out of there. How did I find my motivation? I had that support. I had that time to rest. I had spent my whole life in acceleration on go. And so I finally had the support and the family around me to trust, where I can be able to sit down and think and take that time. So that depression time for me, it was also a rest time for me. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but I learned a lot of things about myself. I learned a lot of things about my boundaries. I learned a lot of things about the demons that I was fighting, and I finally called them out once and for all and didn't bury them. And what I mean by that is whatever that I was facing that I had unresolved, even just within my childhood, it was time to come up out of that. So how I came out of that, my faith, knowing that God was going to bring me through, knowing that I had a bigger purpose even in those dark days, and also going back and looking at how far I came, and patting myself on the back and acknowledging that and forgiving myself for what I allowed was one of the biggest, tore me from the inside out, because we tell ourselves, I could have been so much further. Mm-hmm. But I had to learn how to give myself grace along that way too, and just say, okay, I might have to start all over and reset and relearn everything. But at least this time it'll be my way. And I know where all of this is coming from. I can start all over. So I started weeding it out: people, things, habits. I started letting it go, seeing if I could sacrifice certain things, or if it had a hold on me, which included marijuana, which included even sex sometimes, because I had sexual abuse issues growing up, overcomer of childhood sexual abuse too. So I fought those demons. So really coming up out of there and meeting that dark individual too, and saying, you know what, yeah, but I ain't got to stay there. So, that's what brought me out, the drive. And then once I came out a little more, then my children. Mm. And the will to live and just the gift of life. But I will first have to say faith in God is the only thing that brought me out of those times. I had to look at who I was. I had to come out of copycat energy. I had to pop out,
Shout out Katie got bands.
Had to pop out on them and show them, the authentic me, because we know when we're not our authentic selves, and when our souls is really crying out for those things that we truly need. So giving those things up and the pleasures of sin, because they are pleasurable, are hard. But to know that on the other side, what I have to gain is much better than now. That's what kept me going.
I love it. See, in my mind, when you were saying it, I'm looking like, is she gonna mention this? Because I don't mention it for when people ask me that thing about goals. But I am starting to realize these things.
Yeah.
Would you say it's safe to say a part of the goals, it may not keep you going, because what you said is what keeps you going toward the goal. No problem. What keeps you going toward the goal is what you said. But how do you feel, how important it is to keep in mind the actual people that you're serving?
That's the hard part. Because when you go in hermit mode, you go in hermit mode. And when you get focused, sometimes it's hard to come out. So creating that balance, knowing that you have work to do, but you still have to have those relationships to build, and you still have those people that look out, are waiting on you. You know what I mean? So knowing that it's bigger than just my mission, it's bigger than just me. And how can I touch or how can I show people that love or that empathy if I'm always so much into my own world? So I had to really hone in on who, so I can identify who I needed to create that time for. Because if it's too many people in that space, um, everybody can't go and everybody don't deserve. So really figuring out who deserves to stay and really making commitments, because I haven't always had relationships to where I've been around. I isolate easy and I don't come around till I'm ready. Mm. But for me, going through those things and coming out and starting to learn and trust my discernment again, it's really helped me to be able to grab those relationships again. I think it's something that just naturally comes with the healing process. Once you start to work on you, people see that. And they naturally gravitate to it. They see that. And it's up to you to go back in and recreate and establish those strong relationships, mm-hmm. or leave them where they're at. But make sure they're the right ones. Because we leave behind those people that were supportive to us too in our trials, because we can't give them that. So we run too in fear of not being able to reciprocate. So when you get those lessons and when you elevate, being able to go back and really realize where your support is.
I love it. I love it. Now, money, as we transition to our next topic, money. Everybody about the money. Everybody want the money. Okay. So a lot of, I had bumped into this lady downtown. Mm-hmm. She was from New York, and she was here for a conference. And we was talking, and I've been a money man all the time. Mm-hmm. And I always care about impact. But I realized how people say, don't chase the money, chase the dream, the money gonna come. Yeah. Not too many people unpack that. They just say it. And a lot of as a culture, we have a bad reputation for just regurgitating and saying stuff, philosophies that sound cute and good.
That's the issue that's going on with religion now this day, but that's a whole nother story. So a whole other story.
So she tried to tell me, because she don't know me. So when I said, and I realized it's not about the money, it's not about the income, it's about the income. So nope, don't you say that. Yeah. Like, it is about the money. That's what's wrong with our people. Like, ain't nothing wrong with the money. I was like, no, I trust me. I got a goal to have a $25.6 billion net worth. I have a goal to win a Nobel Peace Prize. I definitely know it's money. If you look up the word business, it's about profits. Profits. Like, you have to make money. If you're not making money, you're not in business. Yeah. So I get it. So when it comes to money, what are some lessons you learn about money? Because off camera, behind the scenes, we talk about how budgeting is very important. And some people don't even budget. They go with the flow with their money. Or whatever it takes. They don't even properly plan. So what are some
key things that I learned about money, first of all, is, like you said, you have to have a balance of that. Yes, money's not everything, but money is the tool that you need to make things happen, to produce things in order to create impact, in order to touch the masses, and in order to create change. So yes, we do need that tool in order to survive here on this earth. Yes, and that passion will create a way for you. We can always tell if somebody's just coming for the money or if they're really passionate about what they're doing, because the money just comes if people see that you're passionate. And I think that's what people really try to say. So just to kind of unpack on that a little more, you're supposed to have that passion, and that's what brings the money. And for me, and you helped me a lot with this on my journey, because, being a life coach is something that I've kind of always had a gift in. I've always been that person that people go to for advice or something. So I've never charged for it or, said, hey, $40 for consultation or, any of those things. So it's a thin line going from, letting those gifts make a way for you. Mm-hmm. And that's also how you determine the people that's for you. Girl, I see you, and I'm going to support it, and I'm going to love it. And then you got those people, well, dang, she acting funny now because now she charging. She used to just do this. Yeah, but, I'm on new levels now, and I'm mastering things, and God is opening doors. So as I'm elevating, that's what's going to come with it. And I think that people forget that part of it. Mm-hmm. So another thing, investing in yourself. Never really invested in myself, lived check to check. Wrote a budget out, but everything went to certain bills, and then whatever I had left over, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun with it, put a little bit in savings, and not really saving. Because things come up, then you get discouraged, you touching the money in the savings, and when it comes to savings, you really have to have like an out of mind, out of sight type of mentality because you're investing in you, you're paying you. And I think when you kind of step into entrepreneurship and see how things are run and how costly things can be, you start to really learn to manage that money better. And my thing is, it's okay to reach out for help. Mm-hmm. You don't know nothing about nothing, reach out and get that help so that you can leverage your business and your product properly, and you're not going through so many risks in the beginning of your trial and error. Because trial and error is wonderful. You're learning. You get to see what works for you. But it's also really good if I can go through and I can already be educated so I'm not bumping my head so many times. So that's where I'm at with it. If I have the resources for it, I want to utilize them. And I don't want to be afraid to ask my brother, let me get a little bit of what you got. How'd you get there? How did you invest there? Because like I said, the culture where we come from lack. And we have to come out of that lack mentality. In order to come out of that, we have to begin to ask questions to those who have overcome and made it and get in those environments where we see it happening. And that's another thing. Get in those environments where you see it happening. You might have $13 in your pocket or whatever, but abundance is not only money.
Thanks. Talk to them.
Abundance is a mindset. What have I learned? What can I use in here to get me up there so they can look at me right here so I can get this right here?
That's like
so we have to think smarter when we come from places where it's not just given to us. We have to break out the box, and we have to literally fight for us daily. I'm in a fight for me daily, even today. Because it don't stop the networking, the new people. I ain't up there yet. And even when you get up there, you still should say, I'm not there yet. Mm-hmm. You should never want to be stagnant. And that's the mentality that I'm coming out of. I prayed for a long time. God, I just want to be comfortable. I just want to get here in this job and I just want to be able to pay my bills. No, I want businesses. I want my children to have businesses. I want us to be able to be good. I don't want to wake up and do no 9 to 5. I want to be that 9 to 5. I want to be able to provide an environment for people because, it's so many places out here now where there is no real authentic leadership. Mm-hmm. So we need those true leaders to stand up, use our minds, even if we don't have this, but use that abundant mindset and step in those rooms and show people, I got it. Trust me, it's here and it's coming. Just wait on it. But we definitely have to fight for us. We have to bust those limiting beliefs, and we have to know that we deserve to be in the room.
I love it. That deserves a round of applause. I love that. Man, that was so impactful. I feel like I just feel like I was sitting in a seminar.
Sometimes I'd be like, who is that woman, Harpo? But it's just really experience life, learning, and just that desire not to stay stagnant, that desire to be more and to really, come here and conquer what I desire to conquer here.
I love it. Well, that brings us to rapid questions. As we wrap up the podcast, I like to ask my guests 4 different rapid questions. Okay. So don't take too long to think. You have a 5-second window to think.
Oh, Lord, why you do me like that?
5-second window, because it's rapid.
Okay.
You gotta say it.
I got you.
But the last question, rapid question, you got a little bit of time to think. So the first question is time or money?
Time.
Goals or relationships?
Relationships.
If you had only one word to pick to describe you, what would be that one word?
Integrity.
Okay. My last guest said integrity. You said integrity.
I'll give another one.
I'm taking that as a sign.
Driven.
Go ahead. Driven. Okay, I love driven. And then the final one, when it's all said and done, we all know we have a time to transpire to our demise.
Mm.
When it's all said and done on your tombstone in 2 lines or whatever, but no more than 2 lines, what would it say on your tombstone?
Remember that love is unconditional, and to remember that life is a gift. Don't waste it.
I like that. I love that. I love that. Okay. And as we wrap up, before we wrap up, let the audience know. In fact, before you let them know where they can follow you on social media and what you got, what you're working on, how they can stay in tune, and how they can actually get some of your coaching, some of your mentorship, what advice would you give the young lady out there, the young men who are 21 years below, but still having a hard time to find out what their purpose is or just to have some type of motivation? What life advice would you give them in 2 minutes?
I would definitely tell them to believe in themselves first. It doesn't matter what your mom says, what your dad says. It matters who you are and what you think and getting to that authentic self. I would definitely tell them, don't be afraid to speak out. If you need something or if there's something that you don't understand, speak out. If there's something or somebody that's bothering you, speak out. If there's somewhere that you're trying to get, speak out, because we have to speak out. There's so many people that are walking around not knowing how to express themselves, and all we have to do is just ask. So just remember that you're loved and to ask those questions, those important questions. Don't let anybody minimize your questions. They're all important questions. And the minute they try to minimize your questions, that's when they become unpredictable. Be intentional. Be intentional with your time. And I know it's hard to say to those individuals that are young, but it's important to be intentional with your time and to really knock those goals out early.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to fall down sometimes, but it truly matters how you get up and that you have that right support. And I always choose the latter. It's your choice. It's your free will. So if you have that positive or that negative choice, and believe me, I've made that negative choice plenty of times. And that's why I'm here. Because I don't want y'all to learn the hard way. I want to be able to have that safe space where you can come and say, hey, I'm dealing with this. Let's cultivate something new to where we can create those new habits to where y'all not experiencing 10 years of bad luck behind financial things or other things. I want y'all to be able to build that wealth early. So stay intentional. Ask those questions. And always remember that you matter. Don't let nobody tell you different.
I love it. Now, where can the people find you on social media?
HarmonyCornerLifeCoaching.com on Facebook, Instagram, and you can also find me at www.harmonycornerlifecoaching.com. That's where you're going to find all the services I offer, all the event calendars. You can subscribe to my newsletter monthly. It gives you the activities and the events on when I go live and speak on certain topics. I also hold free team mentorship that's going on. We'll be going into our 2nd week coming this Monday. I love my girls. They're amazing, ages 11 through 18. If you want to get in those are not on the site. You have to see me directly and we will sign them up. They are free. I didn't want to continue to put them on the website because people kept getting confused. Does it cost? Does it cost? So just see me. It's free. And also grief and loss sessions will be starting around holiday time because that's the time where people really start to experience their grief and loss. And we want everybody to stay with us and be able. And we want to be able to let them know they're not alone. We want to reach out. So grief and loss will also start in November. We'll have 2 virtual sessions. And if you're also interested in that, chime in and see me. So many great things coming.
I love it. I love it. And there you are, having Coach NeNe, the life transformational coach, mentor, teacher, entrepreneur, motivational speaker. If you need some empowerment, you know where to reach her now. And again, NeNe, I want to thank you for taking your time out of the schedule and prioritizing this day so you can give some wisdom and knowledge and feedback to my audience.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
No problem. And always remember, people, sharpen your awareness, Katie Intelligence.